Self-determination is hard work. Self-determination is about practical action. Self-determination is about responsibility. Surely self-determination ultimately is about people taking control of their own lives and their own destinies.
Today we're talking to you about the value of Indigenous leadership collaboration, of 8 regions of Australia sharing our collective intelligence and our willingness to support each other. There are a number of foundational issues facing our people. Most important is leadership in policy and to have an institutional base from which to drive and support leadership collaboration on policy design, implementation and accountability.
So it was clear that a lot of people were coming that had different ideas, different concepts, different visions for their own communities, which I guess for me allowed me then to come with an open mind to say, okay, we have a lot of communities, people with different ideas, different values, different visions for what they want to achieve. Perhaps it's a good thing to come and listen to see what it's about. It is quite clear that we can't do it on our own. As individual community organisations, as individual communities, to have impact at a federal level, to have impact even at a state level, we can only do that through a united approach.
So we're all together to achieve positive long-term changes and share these benefits across communities and amongst our people. We want to drive strategic partnerships in key governance systems in Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal communities with the support of government. And we are very supportive of structures and concepts that encourage the sharing of solutions across regions, states and territories. And we want to measure our successes in the hundreds and thousands, not just in the tens.
We've got a common challenge with our relationship with government and getting reform, a united consensus around a reform direction. We need to get government on the same page, business on the same page, philanthropy on the same page, and the Indigenous leadership and community on the same page. That's never happened before in any of these places.
Bringing everyone together under one umbrella and everyone working and operating the same, but really wanting that diversity, having those solutions as ways of working to continue to have great effect out in our regions, but to see where we can together as a group of regions have a collective impact at the national level. We're demonstrating some fantastic work. We can see evidence of change, and I think that that's a story worth telling at the national level.
When we have Indigenous people that ask questions and then have the platforms and supported the right ways to be part of the solutions and to be part of that innovation, change happens. Coming together across this phenomenal leadership for me was a great privilege to be at that Central Coast as a young Indigenous leader, and in particular a female leader, and to be able to hear of the amazing things happening across the country and to really go, oh, you know what, we can share and we can learn and we can do this and do it so much better than we've currently been doing. And this isn't a fight for anyone else but us.
The other thing that struck me was the common issues between the regions, from the top end to the bottom end. Common issues that the Aboriginal people raised that made me sit back and take notice. Some things you think are just common to you and the work that you do and the obstacles that you have in my area of inner city, Sydney, but I found that that was universal. That was surprising.
To see some of the challenges and the way they've adapted to try and deal with the challenges to improve our social, cultural and economic status, well-being, we all got so much in common. We're all trying to achieve the same outcomes. We might have chosen different kind of roads to get to those outcomes. So I think the most important thing for me is there's hope.
The elephant in the room is always welfare dependency. No one wants to talk about it because it's too sensitive, and to some extent I think our own people haven't wanted to engage that issue. We've come to the conclusion that if we're going to get anywhere in this country, we're going to have to do something about that issue. And like I said before, in my country, there's huge amounts of opportunities. In fact, that's an area that government and industry have done really well. You know, it takes a lot of courage to stand up and start saying to people, well, half of the problem that you're talking about here revolves around you not getting your kids to school in the first place.
So what struck me about my colleagues up here and those of us who got together and had this common conversation was that these people are anchored in a real place. They work with real people. It's not an abstract proposition.
I think now is a time for real change, where I think there's hope, there's a level of positive energy where we're resurrecting our leaders, our young people, to be part of a movement in which we can make a positive legacy for our people, and hopefully the ripple effects of that will grow and bring in more regions to be part of, to stand up and say, we don't need to accept the status quo. This is not good enough. We can make a difference.